Hi, this is Lance Snow with Get Out Together. This episode of Get Out Together is brought to you by VenturePacks.com. VenturePacks is the place to go to share your ventures, discover other ventures, and connect with other adventurous people. That's VenturePacks.com. Enjoy the show. Hi, this is Lance Snow with Get Out Together. Today, my special guest is Steve Berkey with 90 Revolutions. How you doing, Steve?
I'm great. Thanks for having me.
So, Steve, the reason I wanted to have you on, a couple reasons, is two reasons. So, on a personal level, you've done some pretty unique things recently in sort of a lifestyle design or lifestyle change, and it seems to be pretty impactful. And I've read a bit on your blog, and I've kind of followed a little bit of that journey. And so, I wanted to bring you on. And this is a journey that not only affects just one person. It's not just your journey. It's a journey that you're taking with your family. And I thought it'd be great to bring you on and sort of understand not only the journey and talk about that, but also really the motive, why. Why did you make these changes, and what was the motivation behind it, and just sort of understand the philosophy. And then obviously I also want to talk about 90 Revolution as well. So I guess I want to kind of kick it off by letting you introduce yourself in sort of that epic journey as it's called on the blog.
Sure, yeah, that's not a problem, Lance. Yeah, basically, you're right. Yeah, my family has flipped our lives upside down, and so we did that intentionally. We had a plan from the beginning, and we've been really sticking to it. And it wasn't easy. So we had the typical all-American dream where you had the nice house and you had your nice jobs and everything, but it didn't fulfill us. When we had our son, something happened. We realized that we weren't using our time efficiently, and that was because we couldn't spend time with our son. We believe in an active lifestyle. We couldn't really follow our passions. And it was getting a little crazy. And even there are certain things that happen in my job, as well as my wife's, Jody's job, that pushed us. And it's kind of funny. It's people say that you have a certain calling and you're following that calling. And we sort of feel like we've been kicked or pushed into this. So it really started about in 2009. We decided to start a company called 90 Revolutions. The company was really a lifestyle company for us because it matched our passions. I enjoy competing in triathlons, but I'm also a physical therapist. And I thought, what can I do? Because I'm getting very frustrated with this whole medical system. The medical system's getting to the point where you're seeing many more patients than you really want to. You feel like you couldn't give them the correct care. And there are some other areas and issues in there that really started to bug me. Mm-hmm. So we thought, well, let's take control of our own lives and change it for the best so we can follow what we're interested in. And why not bring our active lifestyle into basically a company that we create and help people? I went to school to be a physical therapist. I love the science behind it, and I love working with athletes. So 90 Revolutions basically emerged. It kind of actually emerged in in our dining room. It was kind of funny. My wife said, why don't you have some of these athletes come over to the house? We'll get them some good bike fitting in, because I took some bike fitting classes and biomechanics, and I started to take some more advanced studies. And I thought she was crazy. I'm like, get rid of our dining room table? So we basically came up with a biomechanical lab in our house, which was just craziness. And so we started to see these athletes, and we realized this is actually so cool. We're having a lot of fun. And we got to the point where our son was there, and we thought, well, we don't always want people just going through our house. So then I merged actually with a physical therapy company who was owned by a friend of mine called Fast Track in Falls Church, Virginia. So I started contracting myself out 2 days a week as a physical therapist. The other 3 days I could spend with my son and build this business. So it just kept progressing and kept growing, and we're like, this is kind of interesting. Maybe, is there a way we can help a lot of athletes? And I've always been a computer geek, so software was the answer. And that's really what we've been up to. And that sort of led into this whole epic adventure. So as 90 Revolutions began to grow, we realized this is something really cool, and we want to really focus on it, and we want to focus on our family. Because we were putting in a lot of hours to have that so-called American dream in our lives. It was this is not a very effective use of time. We can't spend time with our son. So anyway, we sold our house, our so-called house of our dreams, and basically hit the road. And I'm summarizing a couple of years, but this past summer, we ended up traveling the country. And traveling the country had twofold purpose. Basically, one, we wanted to talk to a lot of triathletes and understand their story. Jody and I realized that when you're competing in a triathlon or an endurance event, it's not just going out there and trying to destroy your personal goal. Sometimes people have really big goals, or they're doing it to balance their lives. Whether it's to support a really cool organization, to support cancer research, or to really just help them stay motivated in life. And so we thought, let's go meet these people. We're not really a corporation that's the stale corporation sitting behind computers. We want to know these people and be a part of them, because we're a part of them. So it's kind of like a chat for us and just getting to meet more friends in a way. So anyway, we traveled the country. We went. We left Virginia and we headed the whole way across to Colorado. We went up north a little bit, down through Utah, and then headed back to the East Coast. Now, as we were doing that and interviewing people, we also were videoing cycling footage on a motorcycle, which is
cool.
Pretty crazy, but it was part of our software design. So we basically made this rig. We put it on a motorcycle. We were using contour cameras, little action cameras, and we were going to take this video footage. We thought we got to have some cool video footage, because if someone's training inside, like on a snowy day or rainy day, it gets boring just staring at basically a road. So we thought, well, it'd be kind of nice if someone was cycling Pikes Peak, or up on the Grand Teton Mountains, just out there, seeing the beauty of our country. And we've been playing around with that software a little bit, and eventually we want to make it interactive for people. So there are things out there already, like CompuTrainer and the TAC system, where if someone's bike is hooked to those systems, it makes the video advance. But we wanted to make it more inexpensive. Triathletes, they're already investing a lot of money, and our market is the beginner to intermediate. $3,000 for a bike, the wetsuit, the shoes, and everything. We don't want them to spend more, so we're experimenting with Garmin devices. Since this is wireless technology, and our watch, a lot of triathletes use these watches anyway outside. Well, the cool thing is the watch communicates with the computer. So if we use this video footage, which is kind of tailored or connected to GPS, we can actually make it move real time. So we're playing around with that.
Wow.
In addition, we have already built some software, which I sort of see as like the budgeting software for triathletes. If we're going out there competing or training, it's not that you're going to wake up the next day and do an Ironman. It's methodical, step-by-step training, so you don't develop an overuse injury, and that's. That software has been designed. Now we're kind of putting together the cool stuff, like the cycling routes, and we're doing the craziest things. How can you make the video footage look just right to make it look cool? What kind of special effects can we add? So that's really the Epic journey. Was kind of a personal choice. We're tired of this traditional life, and it's a building process for our company, 90 Revolutions.
Wow, that's pretty awesome. Like I said this before we started. I mean, you basically weaved sort of this purposeful lifestyle design together with a business idea that you love. And I mean, is there a distinction? Is there like a boundary between like personal and work, or is it sort of all kind of flow in together with 90 Revolution and just sort of your lifestyle design? It just seems like it's kind of one and the same, right?
It's definitely. It's woven together, but there's one little thing that we have to be careful about that we found ourselves kind of falling into this, is that sometimes we get so excited, especially me. And Jody says, can we just take a break from business? Because sometimes I just get that tunnel focus, like, oh, this is the next coolest thing we can do. But for the most part, with the exception of those times, it's a part of our life, and it does mix together rather well.
Wow. That's awesome. Most people would have a hard time giving up their dining room space for like an office, let alone like just leave and travel cross country to do like their work. I mean, that's pretty awesome. And so, so kind of I love the underlying purpose. I mean, you wanted to take your lifestyle, the things you like to do, and just sort of expand upon it and actually act upon it, which most people have wants and dreams and don't act upon it, but you went the step further than taking the first step and made it a reality. Having done this now, what have you learned? What have you learned in the process in terms of, first, I'm going to ask about for the business. I mean, were there any revelations when it comes to, sort of having this fitness business that came up while you were traveling cross country, talking to all these awesome folks that you were getting all this great footage, anything kind of pop out at you as sort of, a learning to, whether it was philosophical or within the business?
Sure. Well, it's never easy as you think it's going to be.
Yeah, okay. Ain't that the truth with anything?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, when we started this business, we didn't know what we were getting into. My training is not technology, it's medical. And I've taught myself computer languages along the way. Mm-hmm. It's hard. And there are times where you're so pumped, you're on this adrenaline high. Because how couldn't you be if you're up on these mountains, getting awesome footage and seeing and meeting all these awesome people? But then there's also that reality that you're trying to balance with it. It's like, wow, I'm going to have to eat someday. And you have to have a successful business and kind of blend that with, how are you going to make it to the next step and realistically progress? And you get so anxious that you just want to jump right into this so-called non-traditional life. But you have to step back and just take it step by step and realize that this is a big process. And that's what we really struggle with, particularly that I accepted a traveling physical therapy position after I made the summer travel. And the reason being is that, one, with Night Revolutions, we're building up momentum and things are advancing. And we don't want to advance too fast because then we won't have control. And plus, we want to maintain our personality and not become a stale corporation. But also, that just gives us a means to still travel, since I'm a traveling physical therapist, but yet still build the business and try to leverage our time a little bit better.
Yeah, that makes sense. So, taking the flip side now, how about on a personal level? I mean, have you discovered anything, doing all this stuff, jumping in, and other than nothing's easy. Everything's harder than it seems. What have you learned about maybe yourself and your family?
Yeah, I think this whole situation has made our family stronger. It seems to me, as being married, you just keep learning more and more about each other. And I think for me, it amazes me how we have all pulled together. How my son, we have a little 3-year-old boy, and my wife, and my wife is assuming roles that are out of her comfort zone, where she's being the networker for her business as I'm out there working as a PT, but yet she's constantly there to support me, and it just keeps learning, or it keeps helping me learn. Our relationship continues to grow, and it's an incredible blessing.
Yeah, I can imagine that when you go through something like that, or anything life changing or big in life, you learn new things about your spouse, about your family, about yourself. So yeah, I can see how in a situation like that, your relationship sort of evolves as you go. It's kind of a great time, and it's certainly, it usually is positive things, but obviously, you may learn some other things about your family or your spouse as you go on that you just never knew about. That's great. It just sounds like an incredibly great journey, and boy, I can't wait to see some of that footage going over the mountains. So just to kind of take a step over to 90s Revolution. So you've been in business a while. You're working on the software products. How much of the actual endurance piece of it? So you talked about taping or bringing these cyclists in and sort of watching form. Is it sort of watching sort of their technique and how they operate, or tell us a little bit about sort of the more hands-on, consultative, physical aspect of it.
Right, yeah. With Night Revolutions, it's going through a process of just evolving, and that was the initial process, actually, of Night Revolutions. We learned that when starting a business, a service-based business is easier to get started. Plus, we just loved it. We enjoyed it. Yeah, so it was just a natural thing. So we did start out with bike fits. Particularly, we used the retool fitting system combined with physical therapy assessments. So If someone had back pain, we could identify why, determine if it's orthopedic or biomechanical, and address it correctly on the bike and provide treatment at the same time.
Wow.
That was a cool thing that we blended with the physical therapy company in Northern Virginia. Now, like I said, 90 Revolutions has evolved, and we're sort of moving away from that model. When I took the physical therapy traveling position, I couldn't do that. And with the medical system, it's not always that easy to incorporate biomechanics and performance training. The medical system is not very flexible sometimes.
Okay.
I moved away from that at this time, and some of that was done on purpose because our personal lifestyle is that we like to travel.
Mm-hmm.
We realized that we couldn't always get the biomechanical fits as well as the treatment, and that's why we started leaning more towards the software model, because it actually permitted that type of lifestyle that we were shooting for.
Mm-hmm.
It's helping people at the same time.
Gotcha. That makes a lot of sense. So in terms of fitness, got a lot of viewers on here that are potentially endurance athletes or former athletes. Any advice as to from the physical fitness aspect, how can they avoid injuries, like over repetition injuries, or any type of those kind of repeated stress injuries?
Yeah.
Any advice?
Most definitely. I've seen hundreds of athletes, and there's one big thing that comes into play. The primary thing is strength training.
Oh,
it's crazy. If you look at the research, for instance, one of the most common overuse injuries for the IT band syndrome. Well, IT band syndrome is either biomechanically related because of maybe shoe wear or foot type, but also something that we have more control of is strengthening our hips. And we looked at the different treatment strategies out there. As simple as it is, you have to focus on the details and hit the right muscle, do it the right way. That's what really hurts us. But if we do it the right way, it's amazing with the results. And mechanics. So if you're running correctly, you'll see a lot of things on the internet. If you Google proper heel strike or forefoot striking and so forth, it's confusing. It's very confusing, but down technique and you get that right and kind of dig through all the hype, you can eliminate so many of those overuse injuries. It's just crazy. And the internet is great.
Yeah.
So I definitely, those are kind of the two things that the athletes should be concerning themselves about: finding a good strengthening program that's specific to endurance sports, whatever endurance sport they're focusing on, and then also making sure they're getting the movement patterns, the biomechanics down, right? And then do things slowly. Body doesn't adjust overnight, and I find myself falling into the trap that it's like, I'll do a 6 mile run this one day, and I'm feeling good. Let me knock out a half marathon, ramp it correctly. But that's the athlete's mentality to a sense, or to a certain point too. So you just gotta take your time within reason.
Yeah. Absolutely. I don't know how many times I'd be running or biking, especially mountain biking. Yeah, I feel really good. I can go over the next hill, and then the next hill, and then the next hill, and then get up the next day and go, I can do that again, because that was really cool. And then, boy, you hurt.
Exactly. It sneaks up on you.
Yeah, it really does. So I'm going to shift gears. So in your journeys, so you saw lots of cool stuff with your family. You went cool places. What are some of your favorites? Like if someone was thinking, hey, well, maybe I can't make this lifestyle leap all at one time, and maybe I just want to pick one or two cool places to go to. What would you recommend as a must-see? Pick your two favorite must-see places for anyone out there that's thinking, I gotta go see something cool. What would you recommend?
Yeah, definitely. That's easy. We love Colorado. Particularly, we love Breckenridge, Colorado.
Okay.
It keeps drawing us back to that area. Even outside of our epic journey, we would visit Breckenridge. It was kind of like our ski spot. But awesome mountain biking, road biking, everything is there. And the people are just, it's amazing. There's a certain mentality that's very contagious there. So you got the awesome people, the awesome environment, and just so many opportunities just to go out there and have fun. And the second place I would have to say would be the Grand Teton Mountains up in Washington. That was pretty cool. You see these movies where you have these big, majestic mountains, the beautiful reflection on the lake. Well, that's the Grand Teton Mountains. We were out there just, cycling and enjoying it, and it was just so cool. The waters just looked so crisp, and again, you had infinite opportunities to go out and, whether you want to bike or kayak or whatever. So I would say those are probably our top two favorites right now.
That's awesome. Grand Tetons and Colorado, but specifically Breckenridge.
Exactly.
I'm a big fan of that area. When I go to Colorado, like the Keystone Breckenridge sort of area is, it's like a playground. I've said this on another interview, actually a couple interviews, because I've interviewed some folks from Colorado. I call it like an outdoor playground, and it really is. I mean, you can do just about anything your heart desires. So it's pretty cool.
Exactly. Yeah. Too bad. We wish we could move our family out there, so it'd be to have some fun with them.
So how about your wife, Jody? I mean, does she have? Are those her two favorite places too, or does she have maybe a different one in there?
No, Jody. We've talked about this a lot because we're always keeping our mind open to different places to stay, and I don't know that both of us are thinking the same way. We love those areas, and she's not maybe as crazy as I am when pushing the envelope with the physical activities, but she loves going out there and mountain biking or hiking and so forth, and it just matches us perfectly.
Oh, that's really cool. Okay. So in terms of activities, I mean, you're into triathlons, and obviously it sounds like a lot of biking and stuff. I mean, is there anything outside of sort of the scope of bike, swim, bike, run that appeals to you? I mean, are there any other activities you partake in typically?
There are some activities that interest me, and I've used to be into them a little bit when I had time. But we're in I guess at certain time in our lives where we are very strategic with our time. So if I had all the time in the day, if I didn't have to go to a so-called traditional job, I would be out there rock climbing and probably getting more hiking in. I love that as well. But fortunately, we're in an area right now where we can just jump on our bikes and go.
Nice.
It's I do rock climbing actually a little bit. I used to do that when I was in college. And once we got to a place where it just wasn't as convenient or we traveled, it just didn't work. But I have a feeling if, as our lives become more and more balanced, that it's probably going to be a piece of it.
That's awesome. So sort of a final interview question. Any advice? Sort of if someone's out there, they want to make some big lifestyle changes like this. They want to be creative. They're kind of sick of the status quo, and they're on. It sounds like you and Jody are on the same page. Maybe they're on the same page with their spouse, and they're like, all right, we've got to do something like Steve and Jody did. What would be some advice that you would give them?
Sure, yeah, definitely. The biggest changes in our lives have been the scariest changes. Mm-hmm. If you're willing to make that scary move, incredible things will happen. When Jody left her occupation and I changed mine, we were kind of scared. You get used to it. It's like, I have that paycheck that you sort of get comfortable with. It's coming. You don't know it's always coming, but it's at the time. And then when we made that scary move, it was like, wow, it was scary, but doors are opening for us. Let's keep doing it. So then selling the house, that led to the next thing, and that actually put us in a situation where we can leverage our time, finances, to help grow the business even faster or make it bigger and better. So I think the biggest thing is, if it's scary and you feel that's the right thing, just got to do it.
I like that. It's scary, just got to do it. Yep. So I want to give you an opportunity. You've got a lot going on with 90th Revolution. Anything you want to plug? Like any, do you want to point anyone to your blogs or the business itself?
Yeah, definitely. When it comes to 90 Revolutions, the hub is really the homepage, 90revolutions.com. Okay. And we just want the most eyes on it as possible. In fact, we're building a business for the triathletes. Of course it's for us because it's a bit of lifestyle, but I want to know what people want, because that's how we build things. In fact, the software that we have already been building, and we're making it, refacing it and making it look better, all the ideas that went into the software were for patients. When I was working in Northern Virginia, about 80% of my cases were families. And we would just talk, and I would ask them, what do you want? It wasn't about me building the software for myself or my family to help us with training. It's about helping others so they can train. And really, one of my passions is that how can we build something seamless that seamlessly blends with their lifestyle? Because I don't want some software that's quirky and it wastes time. I want it just makes it very simple, very easy, and meets all those goals. Yeah, just going to the homepage of 90revolutions.com. Check what we're doing, and don't be afraid to leave comments. And we're not a big corporation. It's Jody and myself, and we have some teams of developers helping us out. But we care about helping people. So I would just recommend go to our hub and check out our blogs. Everything's linked very easily from the homepage. And stay tuned to some more exciting things, because we've been releasing our interviews of the triathletes right now, and we're all a part of the same family here. We go through a lot of similar things, and you get better just by listening and helping each other.
That's awesome. I'll definitely link that up in the show notes when I publish the interview. I'll put it straight to the site there, link it up.
Great.
So that's it for this episode of Get Out Together. Steve, I really appreciate your time and telling your story and talking about your business and giving us some advice. Thank you so much for joining me.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Lance, if you need anything or if anyone else needs anything, just head on over and go to our contact page, which you can easily find at our website, and shoot us an email. Whether it's an injury question or whether it's something you're like, wow, this would be really cool to put in software and I really haven't seen it out there, we're going to listen to you.
Awesome. We'll do. All right. Well, thank you, Steve. And this will wrap it up for this episode of Get Out Together. Thanks.